What's up, everybody? Andre Bailey here with Change Everything Live on the internet. You believe that? It's amazing technology these days. So I'm here. I'm excited tonight because I'm here with. I'm going to turn this volume down. Look at this. You got Roberto. You got to watch this technology. It can sneak up on you. So I'm here, excited tonight to be here with two great friends of mine. Roberto Gonzalez. You hear the crowd cheering in the background, and his dear wife, Linda Lamon Gonzalez. So we are so excited. I'm excited to have you here tonight, Roberto, because we're here to talk about, and my dear friend, show what we got here on the screen. I'm going to have you show it here. We're here to talk about the commitment to create. Roberto, so many folks out there are artists, entrepreneurs, people who create in their business, but I hear a lot of folks struggle with the concept of how to get the habit of creating their art. You're a guy that's done a lot of that, and we're going to talk to you about that in just a second. But before we go any further, I want to introduce our crew, the guys that put Change Everything Live together. Nate, go ahead and pan to our incredibly sexy producer and camera crew. Introduce yourself, guys.
Alex, producer.
Hey, I'm Daniel, audio.
I'm Gabriel. I'm on the screen.
And then we'll show Philip as well.
Hey.
I'm a guest.
Hey, I'm Nate, camera guy. All right. So just know you're in good hands tonight, and we're going to have an exciting time chatting here. So I'm going to go up here and frame the topic really quickly. Go ahead and come on over here. 5 ways we want to talk about quickly before we interview Roberto and talk to Linda. 5 ways to commit to create your art. Again, the topic tonight, art, and how some folks like Roberto translate from just being someone who's motivated and inspired with their art to someone who creates art on a regular basis that touches the world around them. So here are 5 quick ways I want to talk to you and talk to Roberto tonight about this. 5 ways to commit to create your art. Number 1, write everything down. Here's something I've heard from artists both here and abroad. When you get inspired, commit to the process of writing down your ideas, whatever they might be, whether it's in a journal, whether it's in your iPhone. Start with your ideas being written down and always know where those can be referenced so that you can have a baseline for ideas you want to create, number 1. Number 2, overcome your insecurity. Listen, if you're afraid that what you're going to create might not be something that people want to see, what you write might not be something that people want to read, just know this. Everyone has insecurity about their art. Overcome your insecurity and use that to fuel you as you're creating art on a regular basis. Number 3, evolution instead of creationalism. So I'm playing a little bit off of the religious reference here to say this, that there's this idea that you're going to step out from on high with some concept of art and just create a masterpiece overnight and every time. But I will tell you, I've heard, and you're going to hear again in a few minutes, from artists who commit to the process and know that art takes time, and that in that process of creating art, that's where the most beautiful masterpieces come. So you're not going to necessarily create all the time something perfect, but you're going to evolve as an artist on a daily basis. So number 4, schedule your creative time. Get in the process of scheduling your creativity. Don't just do it happenstance. Schedule your art like you would do a regular job. And number 5, set measurable goals. Don't just go out and create, but measure your work. And again, these 5 ways to commit to create, we're going to put them online right now. But the most important person you want to hear from tonight is right here on the couch, Mr. Roberto Gonzalez. How you doing, sir?
Fine, thank you.
And your dear wife. I'm going to shake her hand. You know, I've known her quite a while.
I know.
We've hung out for a bit. So, Roberto, you're an artist. How long have you been, tell us about the art you create.
First, I want to say thank you for the invitation here. And how I create the art?
Yeah, tell us about the type of art you create. A lot of people out there don't know you. Talk about your art for a second. What do you create?
I think I create the things I see in life.
Okay.
I can see mountains, water, trees, buildings, people. Everything inspired me to do something with my art.
Gotcha. So let's pull his art up on the website. Let's go ahead and pull that up. I'm going to have you. I'm going to show some folks the kind of art you create. Step up. Show us a couple of your pieces here, and let's get people acclimated with what you create. So you paint. You're a painter.
Yes.
And that might be common sense to some, but you're a painter. So talk us through a couple of the art pieces that you've created recently, and let's talk about your inspiration for them.
The inspiration was like the storms, talking for the things I like in the water and the storm. I imagine it was is going to happen, and the passion I have to do something like that.
Gotcha. So here's a bigger version of it. How big is the actual canvas?
This is
on
48 by 48.
48 by 48.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And how many days did it take you to do this one,
It
Roberto?
takes 3 days in case for that one.
3 days.
Uh-huh.
Linda, is he locked away during the 3 days? What's it like to what's it like for you as someone watching the artist create during those 3 days?
He's obsessed with it, and he will start when he gets that moment, usually in the morning, and he will not stop until it's done. Usually that takes 12 hours in one day, and then he might bring that canvas into bed. And then the next day he will start again if it's not done. When the obsession is over the top, sometimes we have to pull the painting away because it is done, but he doesn't believe so yet.
You know, sometimes you don't know how to stop. You continue to do something and look for something, right, to give you more. And Linda came in the picture and said, you know, just stop. It's done.
Linda's like the safety net. She's
Yes.
like, you haven't eaten, you haven't showered.
Right.
You must unplug for a minute. All right, pull back up his canvas collection. Let's see another piece. Pick one out there and let's look at it.
That one is nice abstracts for the flowers.
Okay.
It is one of my favorite paintings for Linda. She loved that painting.
It's my favorite.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes, and
Oh, that's beautiful.
Look at it.
this is the kid views.
What do you call this painting?
Lavender
In
grass.
lavender grass.
Lavender Rest. Okay. So how long did this painting take?
That one it took, I can say, but 4 days to
4
do that.
days, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, awesome.
You know, you have to wait for drying and coming with little more things to touch the bottles or the painting, and takes 4 days.
Gotcha. Well, our team will go ahead and post the link right now up on the Facebook post so people can see this. So Roberto, come back down. Thanks for showing us a few pieces, and we'll probably dive back into a few more of your pieces later. So Karina Garcia says she loves your art. Amy's watching. Flynn Dobbs. Hello, Flynn. Sam. Reza. Red Adams. A bunch of folks watching. Very impressed with your art. So, Roberto, what some people might find interesting about you as an artist is that you started creating art on what I'll call professional level. I'm not sure that's the right term, but
Right.
as a professional, only about 10 years ago.
Yes.
Before that, what are the different careers that you
I
undertook?
studied business administration
Okay.
and working for the Treasury Department in Mexico City.
All right, so you were a pencil pusher like the rest of us
Yes.
for a long time.
Yes,
So
I
if you're
was.
a pencil pusher out there, there is hope for you. So how old were you when you shifted gears and started doing art full time?
Well, I was doing art for really all my life.
Okay.
And when I have the time find the time for me to create in full time, it was 10 years ago.
10 years ago. What shifted in you? What was the decision to go from being a kind of a part-time artist, doing it on the side, to doing it full time? What did that commitment look like, and what was the big
I think
aha moment?
the commitment was when I saw I have something, like I say. I continue with a process to find different ways. Like everybody, all the artists, they paint different things, so they're starting to copy, you know, Van Goghs and Picassos and things. This is how I took it.
And so, Linda, for you, being married to someone who worked for the Treasury Department and for the country of Mexico, and then now, hey, I'm going to create art not just part-time, full time. What's it like living with an artist on that journey from your perspective as the loving spouse?
Okay. So he would constantly paint, and there'd be papers around or clipboards and things. And one day, actually, when we came to the States, he got into the food and beverage business. And as if you remember, about 10, 15 years ago, we had a recession. And there was that moment where the job that he had didn't exist. And we made a decision. I said, why don't you just paint? Why don't you go out and buy 40, 50 canvases, buy some paint, and just do that? And he went into the garage for about 2 months. Yeah. Didn't come out, and I went in and saw one of them, and to this day I just stood there and I said, oh my God, there's something really extraordinary there. And that was the beginning of kind of the confirmation that he had the ability to communicate those visions into his art, and it just took the commitment and the obsession to go for 3-4 months, and he produced about 40 pieces.
40 pieces in
3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months.
Well,
Wow.
it was every day.
Okay.
Every day.
Painting every day.
All right, so the shift when you went professional, I'll just keep using that
Yeah.
term, is that you are now creating art every day, every single day.
Yes.
40 paintings, where did you fit all those paintings?
In the garage.
In the garage.
In the garage.
In all my houses, it's painted everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, as an artist and someone who produces art on a regular basis, what's your pattern? How do you have a goal? Do you try to do a certain amount a month, a certain amount a week? How do you produce art on a regular basis? Everyone's different, but what's your pattern?
I think my answer is when I feel it to do so.
Okay.
It is not only to paint because I don't think it's right when I want to paint because I want to have more paint. It's just
Okay.
when I have it, when I feel it, it's going to be better for me to express myself better and deliver something.
Okay. On a regular basis, how many times how often do you create a new painting? What do you average, probably?
I can say maybe 3 paints a week.
3? Okay, so I will say you feel it quite often.
We're
we
motivated.
This is all I do.
Yeah.
I love it.
I got you.
I
So,
love it.
so in doing some research on artists, writers, the folks that produce movies, or even entrepreneurs who are producing art inside of their business, there's a great book, and for those of you out there who have never read this book, it's called The War of Art by a gentleman by the name of Stephen Pressfield. We'll put the link to that. I'll have our team put that up right now. But in this book, he says, Stephen Pressfield, something that I shared with you guys before the show, which is, this idea that you create art completely in the abstract without any kind of commitment or schedule. Stephen Pressfield says as a writer that he only writes when he feels inspired to do so. But he feels inspired every morning at 9 a.m. to write. So the idea is, creating this commitment to the art form, and it sounds like that's something that in your own way you've done.
Yes. Yes.
And so, I've seen some of your art at the gallery next door.
Uh-huh.
Flynn says she's waiting for some new pieces. I saw her
Yes,
today,
yes.
but-
I was with her today and say hello to her. She's a wonderful person. As a matter of fact, it's one of her favorite paintings is the Cool Down,
Okay.
the one with the cool.
So pull that up. Pull his website up again. Let's look at a couple more of your paintings. All right, head on up there. Show us a couple more of the ones that are your favorites.
And, this is a Cool Down. This is a token for Flame, and it's one of her favorite paintings. And they are exhibited now in the Waldorf Hotel in Disney. That
Right.
one is.
So this is in the Waldorf in
Yes,
Disney.
uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay. So how big again is this canvas?
36 by 26.
Okay.
So,
Okay, that is absolutely beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And so how many paintings are out in the world? Show us one more painting. Go back to that gallery.
Uh-huh.
Let's see one more of your
So if
favorites.
there's other pages there also. on
Right.
there. So
You can
if
change
you flip
the-
through the pages, on the bottom is
yeah, you
go to
can
the
go
fifth
to.
one, page 5, if you can. There is one that is in the collection of Sir Paul McCartney.
Really? Yeah, we got to see that one.
That
That
one
one right
here.
there.
All right, click the last gold one right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Click on this one. So tell us about this painting right here as we load it on the internet.
As it loads.
You know the one that Paul McCartney owns would load the slowest. So.
That one. It was a lot of inspiration for me to paint I think the greens, the colors, the trees, they give you so much to me, and the pleasure to have to give it to this painting to Paul McCartney was something incredible for me.
Now, how does Paul McCartney get hit? Linda, how does Paul McCartney get his hands on a Roberto Gonzalez exclusive painting?
Well, when Paul McCartney came here to perform, he only meets with artists.
Okay.
And he asked the city if there was any artist that they would think that they would like to connect him with Paul McCartney, and the city recommended Roberto.
Wow.
It was an extraordinary gift. So we got to meet him. He got to talk a little bit with Roberto about the painting, and I will admit I am a die-hard, many-year fan of them, and I had to tell him that I was at JFK when he arrived the first time in New York. But that is how we met Paul McCartney.
Wow, amazing. And this might be public knowledge or not, but what do your paintings sell for? What's the range they sell for? Is there a range? If someone wants to buy one of your originals, what is the range they might go for?
All depends the size.
Okay.
And the piece.
And the piece.
So
between $800 and $3,500.
Okay, so that's fantastic. Now, what's interesting is pull up that Home Depot. This was fascinating. We were searching because our amazing staff can use the internet to search for just about anything, but we put in Roberto Gonzalez art, and some of your paintings came up, and they were being sold at Home Depot. Let's see if we can, look at this. Zoom in on that. Home Depot. For the bargain basement price of $84, you can get a Roberto Gonzalez framed print, not an original. And so you've made it when Home Depot covers you and has your art for sale. So that's incredibly exciting. So Roberto, again, what I love in talking to you, we've spent some time together chatting, and your dear wife talks about you all the time. I don't know if you know this, but I think she really likes you, just so you know. So how long you guys been married?
A long time.
A long time.
I think it's